In fact, there's a little bit of a hint of this. You know, we have, in your period, which is mainly the Ming Dynasty and the Qing Dynasty, we have lists from the examinations telling how many people in your patrilineal, your father, your father's father, or your father's father's father, your great-grandfather, if any of them had passed the examinations before you passed. And we have two of these lists from the Sung Dynasty, from the Southern Sung, 1148, 1256. And what they tend to show is that 40, 50, 60% of the people, right, came from families where it looks like, or 40% I guess more, were new men. That is, that they didn't have officials in their patriline of father, father's father, father's father's father. So that suggests that maybe social mobility was true. If we look at China today, there's this thing called the Gaokao.
Yeah.
I was in the countryside, and it must have been in June, and all of a sudden we were told we had to detour around the part of the city. And I said, why? And they said, well, it's Gaokao time. Gaokao means high examination. I said, what's that all about? They said, students are competing for the college entrance examination, and this is such an important day in their life. Well, I think it goes on for a couple of days, that we don't want them to be disturbed. All the traffic was stopped, to have utter silence on the street near the schools so they could do their examinations. And that strikes me that attitude towards examinations and higher education is something that we can trace back right to this period, and again leads to shared subjects, shared knowledge, and we can actually look at the sorts of subjects that are in the examination, the higher examination today, and see something of the same things going on.
Let me interrupt with one story. When I was a student in China, I would get my mail at the departmental mailbox. And one day I went to pick up my mail, as I did every week or so, and the way was barred by uniformed security guards. And they just, no explanation, you cannot go in. And it turned out that the department was the site where the graders of the Gaokao were grading the exam, and so it was locked down, and it was so important that I explained, I couldn't possibly corrupt the Gaokao process by going to pick up my mail, and no, it was absolutely.
So that sounds exactly like what it was like under the civil service examinations.
And that's why I tell the story. And another similarity, of course, is that to the extent that this is seen as a vehicle for social mobility, the issue of fairness is a national issue. Right. It's a central political. It's not simply an educational issue. It is a core issue in national, political, and cultural and social life. Right. And that, I think, is a continuity.
Right. Now, I should tell you, I'm going to show you just one map, and it's an interesting map. It's for the Sung and the Northern Sung, and then the Ming Dynasty and the Qing Dynasty, and it shows you where examination, or where officials who passed the examinations came from. And if you look at that map, you'll see that, in fact, the distribution of successful examination candidates is not equal across the country, and it's not equal in terms of population. That there's the southeast coast, like Fujian, what's called Jiangnan, sometimes Sichuan, sometimes the area in the north around Kaifeng or Beijing, that these are the places where lots of candidates are coming from. That's a little bit of an anomaly, perhaps, I'm not sure, but I just thought I should fess up to that.
It's true that if we look at the immediate patriline of examination candidates, the system seems to be working at creating a system with room for people to rise up, room for new men. What scholars have found when they look more broadly is that many people who may not have a father, grandfather, or great-grandfather who passed the exams do have an uncle or a great-uncle or a cousin, which suggests that at the individual level, social mobility may be a possibility, but for the family,
I see.
There is less new blood entering the system.
Because they're related.
Because they're related to people who have succeeded. This is not, of course, a suggestion of wrongdoing or underhandedness, but simply that the investment to succeed in the examinations was so great that it really wasn't a system as open to all as is sometimes claimed.
So it's not like buying a lottery ticket, which is easy to do. It's a much
it's probably much closer to sending your children to fancy elite private schools, right? In the sense that that's something that requires family wealth and a family tradition.
You know, now that you mention it, I recall, and well, you can see it now on the screen. I recall a thing of examination candidates from Putian, which is a county in Fujian province on the coast. And actually, it supports what you're saying, because it shows that the vast majority of successful candidates were from just a few big, very extended families. Right.